On Sunday, well over 38,000 Charlton fans will descend here at Wembley Stadium to watch Nathan Jones and the lads compete for this trophy in the Sky Bet League One playoff final.
And as we count down to 1 p.m. on Sunday, we'll be previewing the game against Leyton Orient with some club legends. We'll be catching up with members of the club's hierarchy, and most importantly, we'll be hearing from you, the supporters. Scott, should we take a look around?
Let's do it. Very warm welcome to Charlton TV's production here at Wembley Stadium. It is an iconic stadium ahead of the League One playoff final. Really looking forward to it. Delighted to say the legend that is Stevie Brownie alongside me.
Can't shake that.
Brownie, you can't shake that. You definitely can't shake that. Did you get in okay? We were a little bit worried about you.
Yeah.
Do you want to explain what happened?
Well, the old bring your photo ID.
Well, Tom, press officer, told you, and then he reminded you again this morning. And
No, I think if you're going to do that, I think there's more responsibility should be with Tom, and he should actually get the photo ID in, and he should bring it so that we don't have incidents like this morning. Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to be carried in at all on
No.
just
You know, it's a lot of responsibility bringing your own ID.
Okay, fair enough. Don't want you hanging around London with your own ID anyway. But seriously though. Iconic stadium. How much are you looking forward to Sunday?
Yeah, very much. You know, I think the anticipation once we knew we'd secured the playoff place was there for everyone to see in terms of how the fan base reacted and in terms of how we were. And it was a tricky semi-final. I think we knew it was going to be a tricky semi-final, particularly after the 4-0 thrashing at Adams Park. They weren't going to come out and let us do that to them again, and we've navigated our way through that, and we've set ourselves up nicely for this final. I don't think you can say there's an easier side to play when we get to a final of a League One playoff game. I think anyone we would have faced at this stage is a tough game. Simple as that. It's been a good season in terms of where we've managed to come from, and I think if you look at December onwards, we are in phenomenal form, and I think that will help, but by no means get you over the line.
Yeah, unfortunately, so are Leyton Orient.
Very good,
going into the end of the season. We're going to be joined, by the way, with Alan Curbishley, of course. Kevin Lisby, when he decides to turn up as well, and he's done all his Leyton Orient stuff.
Just the diehards at the start, yeah.
Chairman Gavin Carter as well, really looking forward to that. But you talk about this particular game as well. I mean, I know it's a different Wembley, of course it is, but still it's Wembley Stadium. Yeah. When people talk to you about Wembley in '98, what kind of memories does it evoke?
I think there's a couple of things. You can't prepare yourself for the walkout. Wherever you've played, whatever you've done up to that point, you know, when it's a game with that gravity and that much riding on it, you can't prepare yourself for that. Another thing that surprised me was how quickly the opposition fans filter out when it's over. You're still celebrating one end, you turn around, it is empty. You know, they don't want to hang about. That was another thing, and I guess it's just the celebrations after, the euphoria of knowing what you've just achieved, and that in our case, you're going to play Premier League football, and then the celebrations after. I think Mark Bright, in all his wisdom, at 37 years of age or whatever he was at that point, was videoing. So, and he sent a video out to everybody in the coming weeks about that day, and he'd done little snippets here and there, and that was a lovely memento to receive off of Brighty, because no one else had that before. So you didn't have cameras on your phones or anything like that, so you actually had a video camera.
Do you look back now and say it's the biggest game of your career when you think about what it meant for the club?
Oh, by some distance, yeah. But it was right. I was substitute, came on for the extra time and scored a penalty. And
you haven't mentioned the tackle.
I don't like to talk about it, as you know. Yeah. I let other people, bring it in. I think I say this in terms of my favourite time in football was the 2000 Championship winning campaign. But you're never ever going to replicate a one-off game like that. Nothing else got close.
And here, you've done it before. You've touched on it there. What will the lads be feeling right now, and a sort of build up in the morning of the game, and when you first wake up, to getting on the coach, to being here, to looking at the pitch?
Yeah, today's okay. Tomorrow's going to be fine. And then you get to Saturday and you're doing your last bit of prep and you're taking it a bit easy. You'll know the team by then. You'll know who's starting. You'll know who the substitutes are. So if you're not in that, you can relax a little bit. If you're in that, you start to realise what you're going into. And then on the drive on the way here, it suddenly becomes very, very real. And I know Curbs has spoken about this in the past, about the bus got stopped on the way here and we were surrounded either side by Sunderland fans, and they were banging on the bus, they were spitting on the bus, and you're sitting there going, oh my God, we are going into a lion's den here. And in some respects it focuses you a little bit, but that's when the nerves kick in. They really do kick in as you come up on that bus. You get out, you're walking into a place with, as people will see, dressing rooms that are just first class. They're like nothing you've seen in League One all season. And at that point, you've really got to start narrowing down your mind and focusing on the job you've got to do, because there's a big job lies ahead. But yeah, there's not many things in life that do what this will do to them on Sunday.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things in life that will, having children, as you well know. That period.
I didn't have them personally. But
well, no, neither did I. No, they did a good job though, didn't they? 2 girls. But there's not a lot can prepare you, Scotty, and the team that suppresses the nerves. You've got to play on that line that's right up to that line, and if you go over it, you'll get a sending off or you'll make a mistake. So it's getting that balance.
And just final one right now, mid-Christmas, before Christmas, mid-December, if I'd have told you we'd be standing here, what would you have said?
I would have said there is a slim possibility, right? But what I would say is we hadn't shown enough consistency. I mean, there was a period there, Scotty, we won 3 in 16 games. And so there was quite rightly a little bit of a negativity. It wasn't a bad one. It wasn't disaster that we've seen in previous years, but it was starting to creep in like, okay, we brought Nathan in and we expected us to lift off a little bit this year, and it didn't quite happen. But luckily there was a bit of patience. I thought Nathan found the right team. It took him a little while to find the right team, and he settled into that. And then when we got that 5-0 at Northampton, we just took off. There was no looking back from that point, and the team's just gone from strength to strength. And I think I said it on air on Thursday night against Wickham. Just pleased for everybody connected with the football club, because it has been a stretch. It's been a tough few years, and I'm just pleased that we've got a manager that's found a way to navigate his way into the playoffs and give us a shot.
Okay, plenty more of Brownie to come. But a little bit earlier, Brownie and I sat in the dressing room with a certain Alan Curbishley. Yes, here we are in the dressing room where Charlton would be on Sunday. Now, I think it's fair to say it's a little bit blue. It's not been Charlton branded yet, but hopefully it's a good sign, because the Chelsea women's side won the FA Cup final here last Saturday. So fingers crossed we can do the same, of course, on Sunday. Chaps, forget the fact it's blue. It's red in our mind. Impressive though, isn't it?
It's massive, isn't it? I can't remember it being this big, can you?
No. Yeah. I don't remember it being, I mean, we had sort of half the size of this, but then you went into a sort of shower area behind this, but this is massive. It goes through to about 4 different rooms. So, yeah. I mean, it's what you'd expect in a modern day dressing room, right? All the pictures up, individual seats, individual little lockers. I don't think we had anything like this at all.
No.
Much more open plan.
I don't remember when I was here, or the old Wembley a year earlier as well, but it is a nice touch with all the individual photos as well, isn't it?
Yeah. It's great, isn't it? Can you imagine when the players walk in here at the weekend? Can you imagine it? Like the feeling they're going to get. They're actually in a place of history, and then when they walk out, I mean, we've just been out on the pitch. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Curbs point out little charging points, just nice little touch.
Got
to have your phone charged.
Yeah, would you have that, Curbs? They're all in their phones. Well, you're doing a team talk.
So halfway through a team talk, the phone goes off. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. But what do you think in terms of from a player's point of view then, Brownie, if you can take yourself back, if you can?
It's a struggle.
Back to 98, you come into what is not quite, it's not what you're used to. It's a massive dressing room. Everything just reeks massive and big occasion, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the week leading up to it's completely different than any other week. I mean, we got measures for those rascal suits, didn't we? that Varney made us go to Blue Water for. I don't think that we looked like that Liverpool team. It was awful. So you have things that distract you during the week, and it's just not normal. And I think the key is getting yourself in a position as a player where you're trying to make it normal. Everything says normal. So when you get in here, don't get carried away. We're at Wembley. Look at this dressing room. You've got a job to do.
I think when we walked out, I stopped everyone looking at the crowd and like waving and whatever. So when you see the two teams walking out, us and Sunderland, we was miserable as sin. Right, well, everyone's got their head suit. Yeah, in that suit. Everyone's got their head down like that because I told them I don't want everyone going like that and going like that. Concentrate on the stars.
It's his fault why I'm like this.
He moulded your personality. Is that what you're saying? But what other messages can you remember that you were said when you were in here as well?
Well, we marked out a pitch at the training ground, the same size as Wembley. Just to show the players perhaps the long throws ain't so long. Perhaps the goalkeeper kicking it ain't going to go as far. Things like that. So we concentrated on that, and we done obviously practice penalties, but we made the players go from the halfway line. Not just muck about, put it in, and no pressure. We made them, and the rest of us all stood round, like heckling and mucking about, but made them do the walk if it went to penalties. So, but the overriding memory I've got in here is that Wembley supply someone to help you out while you're in here. And I remember at half time, I said to the boys, we've got Sunderland where we want them, right?
Where did you see the golden months, by the way? So
we've got Sunderland where we want them, right? They're really going to go for it, and we're good on the counter-attack. If we see the first 10, 15 minutes out, every time we get an opportunity to go on the counter-attack, go. And the guy was listening to it over there, somewhere over there. By the time I sat down in my seat, Sunderland had equalised. And I turned back to Keith and went, that was good team talk, Keith, wasn't it?
It's interesting you say about that pitch, because I remember when it got marked out and you come out for the first time on the training ground and you go, it can't be this big. It can't be. It's miles wider than a regular pitch, much longer. And I remember you did some sessions, you did different sessions on if we went down to 10 men. This is the space you're going to have to cover. I remember doing it all, and we covered so much stuff during that week in preparation. But you can't get your head around how big the pitch is.
I think if Nathan would have asked me about it, or Bo, one of us who have been here, that's the one thing I would have said, the size of the pitch, just to get used to it.
Any messages that you can remember, Curbs, if not on the day, then a usual thing you do, apart from get ready to come on at some point, Brownie?
Like I said, no, there was nothing, I can't remember anything that was different, and that's what the key is, I think, is that you've got to try and wrap this final up into it's another game. And what you've done previously leading up to this game, as certainly in Charlton's form and Leyton Orient's form, to be fair, it's been decent, is how can we replicate that? We've got through a very tough semi-final, but we've not let a goal in. We've managed to find a goal ourselves and get through. And it's normalising this fixture. That's the tough bit, because as Curb says, you've got ticket distractions. Suddenly there's 25 family members who want to come, or friends and family. You've got all that going on. You've got suits you've got to measure up for. You've got all this stuff going on. Plus you've got your coaches going, right, if this happens in the game, you've got to do this. And all this information you're trying to suck in and suppress down here to make sure you're calm when you get out there.
Final one then, Curbs. We're 10 minutes before kick-off, maybe it's 15 now, just about to go out. What do you expect Nathan to be saying?
It's very difficult because you can't you can't help getting caught up in the occasion. So man, what you say here, as they walk out of that tunnel, they see 70,000 red and white, because that's what it's going to be, isn't it? The whole stadium's going to be red and white. And the distraction of playing at Wembley, I think, especially at an occasion like this. Yeah, if it was an international game, I think it'd be a little bit more reserved. But this is going to be full on. From the moment you arrive at the ground, I remember we couldn't get in because Sunderland got here first, so we're hanging around outside, and all fans are banging on the coach, and all that sort of stuff. So, the whole event, you don't want to be distracted from what you've got to do on the pitch.
Yeah. Okay, well, the dressing room will be red, we are readily assured, not blue. And hopefully, just as the lads walk out, they'll be bang up for it. It's great insight to be inside. I'm now going to hand you back to two very handsome guys. Oh, that's very kind of you, Scott, but honestly, I wouldn't say that about us. It was in the script, by the way, I promise you. It was in the script. Look, Brownie, you've watched the Addicts all season, haven't you? Yep. Let's talk about the season. Is it too simple to say it's split into two, the really poor part, and then when we just really cracked on just before Christmas?
No, I think that's there for everyone to see in terms of the results and the performances. But I think the first half of the year, we let's not forget we started with a few clean sheets and a couple of wins, and we're in the top sort of six at the start, and then we tailed off a little bit. But I just think there's been a resilience and a character shown, from December that means you can say that, without any shadow of a doubt. You can split it into two results wise, but what I would say is that in terms of us playing football on a regular basis, our outlook is across the whole season. Media side is game to game, and so Nathan won't have lost focus at all. He would have felt the pressure, but his job is to deal with that pressure, and his job is to find a team that can navigate his way through, get results, and win games. And he got there from December onwards. But yeah, it was a tough old period, September and October.
It certainly was. 5 clean sheets last season.
Yeah.
What was it? 25 clean sheets this season as well. How did we go from 5 to 25?
Well, you go with a different mindset on the coaching pitch. I think is what happens. You can't underestimate the job that's been done by the staff. The players have to respond. Players have to take on board the messages. But if you think about the goals we were conceding since we've been doing Charlton-TV, and we've sat there with our head in our hands sometimes going, I just can't understand the decision-making process from the players, and that ultimately does come from the staff in terms of how you set up and what you allow them to do in certain areas of the pitch. And I think the information from the staff's been very, very good this year. The setup out of position's been outstanding. We've been very difficult to break down, much better defensively on set pieces in both boxes actually, for and against. And I just think the mindset of the players in terms of, if you look at that midfield three, it took a while for him to get that settled. He was chopping and changing, and if you want to look at the early months of the season, that was an area that we kept chopping and changing, making multiple changes. And then when he settled for the three, in terms of Doherty, Coventry and Bury, out of possession, those three are very, very intelligent. Matty Godden sets it off at the front, and he gets teams to sort of down one side. Campbell will back it up, but those three are very, very good behind that. And then you've got the way that that back three have defended the box. They've been terrific.
You mentioned Matty Godden there. You know, he is really good in terms of without the ball, but with the ball and sticking the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
He's been incredible. 22 goals this season. How can you sum up his season, especially following the really popular Alfie May? It's not easy, is it?
No, and there were question marks asked about why we've let Alfie go, and I think we've tried to address this on numerous occasions, which is, you don't see what the player brings away from the football pitches, how he conducts himself away. And I'm not putting Alfie down here, I don't know Alfie at all, but I do know Matty Godden, so I can tell you from experience what Matty Godden can offer, and he offers a lot more than what you see on the pitch in terms of his football intelligence, the goals, etc. He's a very professional. He's getting towards the latter stage of his career. You and I both know what that's like. You want to eke out as much as you possibly can, so you start to really focus on looking after yourself and doing everything properly. As when you're a bit younger, you're a bit naive and you'll do things perhaps you shouldn't at times. But at the end, you don't do any of that. And I think that's if you can find a really good professional senior, there's nothing better in a dressing room for a manager than that, because it reflects good on all the younger players. And
it's pretty fitting, isn't it, that he scores the winning goal then, and people sort of say, oh well, it's a pretty easy one, but to have the knowledge and the football instinct, striker's instinct to be there, and then the ability to take that composure and then score the goal at such a crucial time, because it was one goal wins it, wasn't it?
It was going to be that one moment, that one opportunity, and I thought Jonesy did brilliant actually with the touch, and then the touch against the keeper. But your call of, if Matty stands and watches that, he doesn't get the tap in, and that's where Matty's absolutely outstanding. The amount of times he's lost defenders, the amount of times you've seen him get in behind because he's been allowed to drift in between two players and then make his run. It's not luck. It's a bit like you at the back post, mate. Scotty's cleared it again. Yeah. It's not luck.
That's very kind of you. I made a career of standing on the back post and defending corners. But after the game, he said about his. It's probably one of the highlights of his career, the fact that after the goal, the fans were chanting his name. I mean, it was an incredible atmosphere, wasn't it?
Yeah. And I think I said in the build-up, Wycombe won't have experienced a full house at the Valley in the last 5 years they visited. And they saw that. And actually, I thought they dealt with that pretty well. But our players haven't seen it too often either. And if they can get themselves up on Sunday, you're going to see a different Valley in the Championship, and you'll see an incredible Valley should we ever get back up to the Premier League. But you will be pushing 20,000 plus. I think the fans are in a position at the moment where they're absolutely seeing something special happen on and off the pitch. I go to the Leyton Orient game actually in the league. What the fans did after that game, what the players did. There was something happened that game where there was a unity between fans and players that turned everything on its head, and suddenly the numbers started to go up. Away fans are always good here. They always travel in numbers, they always enjoy their days out, but you could just feel the atmosphere in the valley was changing as well. It was a lot more positive. People would turn up a bit earlier to the games. So I see that as a turning point, and if you were to turn that into a promotion this year, I think you'll see the club sort of take off quite quickly.
Well, it was a very special night on Thursday night for sure. And the fan footage just coming from that game was amazing. Let's take a look at just some of it.
Fantastic to see so many videos, images of a sold-out Valley enjoying a pretty spectacular evening on Thursday evening. Next to me now is the man behind that moment, that viral celebration, lifelong addict, James Wilkes. Brilliant to have you. Welcome to Charlton TV.
Thank you for having me.
I bet it's been a bit of a surreal week for you since that victory and that iconic celebration.
Surreal isn't the word for it. It's just absolutely amazing. The level of support I've got and the laughter's it's brought to so many people. It's just mental, absolutely mental.
Can I take you back then to the 81st minute of that second leg at the Valley? Matty Godden in the right place at the right time. What was going through your mind at that moment? Talk to me about the celebration.
Not much, but obviously by the looks of it. I was caught up in the euphoria of the actual goal itself and the sheer importance of it, really. I mean, getting us here to Wembley, again, second time in 6 years, it's a given.
And that's the point of football, isn't it? Having those moments of euphoria. When did your phone start buzzing, though? When did you realise that that celebration had been caught by the Sky Sports cameras and had gone worldwide?
The bloke who was standing next to me with his little girl, he leant over and nudged me. He goes, look, you're on TV. And I looked at it, I was like, oh, whoops. But again, we was laughing about it. As soon as we left the ground, made our way back to the car, my phone just lit up. Family, friends, posting pictures of it to me, going, oh, look, you're all over Sky. The EFL were posting now about you. It was absolutely crazy.
And how did you feel when the full-time whistle blew and you knew that the boys had secured another day out here at Wembley?
Panicking. Wanted to make sure we got our tickets in.
And you've got your tickets?
We've got our tickets. Same seat as 2019, exactly the same 3 seats for me, the missus and my daughter. She's not wearing her face paint now, no, she's too old now. But, you know, we'll be still be sitting there. Hopefully we won't have the same first goal as last time, because watching it from that angle where we were sitting wasn't exactly nice.
The highs and lows of it all.
Yes.
And I'm imagining, again, it's going to be nervy, it's going to be exciting on Sunday. When Charlton score, can we expect to see a similar style celebration?
Something might be in the pipework. Again, I'm not planning anything. If it happens, it happens. I mean, 2019, the cattle grid can actually hold quite a bit of weight. There was me and a few others with our shirts off last time. So again, I'm not sure. I won't be doing that now. More responsible. But yeah, there might be something in the pipeline.
And that's the point, isn't it, of being a supporter and covering so many miles, particularly because you don't live in South East London anymore. You're so committed to the football club. Does it make all of that feel worth it when you know that regardless of what's going to happen on Sunday, it's going to be a wonderful occasion for the football club? Yeah,
it's what the club need now. Now with the new ownership, the future looks a lot brighter, a lot brighter. Hopefully now we can start actually retaining the players, especially the younger players, and actually move on, stay in the Championship once we get there, and just moving forward. Moving forwards, onwards and upwards is very much the mantra. Thank you so much for joining us on Charlton TV. I think your celebration epitomised how we all felt on Thursday evening. Yeah, some can do it, some can't.
And hopefully more of the same this weekend as well. Let's hand back over to the studio to Scott.
Oh, that's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? I must admit, Brownie, when I first saw it, I thought that was you in the stands with your shirt up. No, actually, no, you're absolutely fine. No. But he sums up the special night, though, doesn't he, that it was the other night?
Yeah, I think so. And I think, you know, in terms of raw passion and emotion, you capture it there. Yeah. You know, I think it was lovely for us to see the Valley back full. The atmosphere was cracking, got the result, and I think people in a moment can catch the public's imagination.
Absolutely. Before we move on and carry on talking, so I do want to talk about the semi-final and how we were able to get past the very dogged Wycombe side. I don't know, it doesn't feel quite right. Something's missing. Someone's missing. What do you think, Brownie?
Where is he? Where is he? Because I've heard he's working for the EFL, Leyton Orient, us, and the rumour is he's got half and half scarf. And whoever's winning, he's got two scarves and a half and half. And whoever's winning, he'll hold that scarf up.
Did he score an hat-trick for it?
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. But I'll tell you what, has anyone seen him anywhere in the Charlton dressing room today?
I haven't as yet. We'll give him a bit of stick.
Lewis's ad is red and white on.
Yeah, that's what he's doing at the moment. Yeah. We can't lose, really. But we will be speaking to him a little bit later on, so we'll give him a little bit of stick. Look, Curbs, I do want to ask you about the semi-final, because that was pretty ugly, but actually we did really well to get past the side that I felt were almost playing for penalties from the start of the first leg, not just the second.
Yeah, it was always a bit of dogged affair, I think, but for me, I'm going back to the atmosphere, just getting in the ground was difficult. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we've had years where it's not been difficult, is it? You know, you can come down the street, there's not a car coming the other way, and there's whatever.
You're not talking about the Blackwall Tunnel.
No, the tunnel, no. I'm just saying it was difficult to get into the ground and the atmosphere before the match, and the Burton game, to be fair, but that was something special the other night. Little bit disappointing that the players couldn't come back out, because I think everyone would have appreciated that and they'd have got, you know, their recognition. But when the fans come on the pitch, it was spontaneous, wasn't it? I mean, and all I could hear from one of the directors was, "Oh, we're going to get fined for this."
Name names.
No. But if we get fined,
take
it on the chin, because I think the fans have responded in the last couple of months, even by the amount of tickets sold for the game, and even more will be sold if we get our hands on them.
Yeah. So in terms of the two-legger, how do you look back on it now, Brownie?
Well, I think first and foremost it was a Wycombe side that had a front four that could cause you a bit of damage, and to keep two clean sheets over the two legs, I think shows how far we've come as a team. So if you take last year's side and the clean sheets and this year's side, we've got a resilience now, and I've quite liked the fact Stockport and Wycombe, I think, have both tried to bully us a bit physically, and the most pleasing thing to me is we stood up toe to toe with both of them. And didn't concede a goal away at Stockport and not over the two legs, and the league game against Wycombe away. So, yeah, I think that would be really pleasing for Nathan to see. I agree with you, the games were scruffy, but there was an awful amount on it. I think Wycombe came just not to lose, and it made it difficult, over the two legs for Charlton to get any rhythm at all. So you have to give them a little bit of credit for that, for disrupting the game, because Charlton couldn't get into a flow either. But by hook or by crook, you find a way to win those. And in Matty Godden, we've got that. I know everyone says sniffer dog, but he's in the right place at the right time, and it's not a coincidence. He's very good at anticipating play and reading where a knockdown may fall or getting across a man at the right time. So he nicked us that goal, which I didn't want it to go to penalties. Our record isn't as good as their record actually on penalties. So yeah, I'm glad we got it done in normal time.
Were you thinking pens, Curbs? I've got to be honest with you, I was.
But I thought if anyone was going to score, it was going to be us. And yeah, Godden, I think that my only worry, because Jones went into the keeper, and I was like, oh no, like I was waiting for that, the ref to pull that up, and obviously he didn't. But no, he's in the right place at the right time. It's interesting, we're talking about Godden and Kelman for Orient. Not the biggest, not the quickest, if you like, but always in the right place. And yeah, so I'm looking at the weekend thinking whoever does best out of them two could be the deciding thing.
I also, Brownie, I know you're going to be with me on this, want to just touch on Kane and the clearances, the blocks he made, that double block, that it doesn't get as much credit as a goal, and yet it's the value of a goal, wasn't it? In a game and a tie where you felt that the longer it went on, one goal wins this.
Yeah, I said on air, and I got a little bit of stick for it from people, but I said on air, that's better than a goal for me. And it is because...
Right, so I didn't say it's better than a goal, I said it's as good as a goal. I'm absolutely with you on that.
And the reason being is that, you can score the winner like Matty has, and the work was done by Lloyd to get Matty the tap in. But for a block, you've got to show passion, desire, you've got to have an amount of bravery to throw yourself in front of things at times, and you've got to get your timing of that right. Because a lot of players back off to the line sometimes and it makes the goal bigger. Whereas if you get tight and in front and you're going to take a bit of a hit off the ball, it's a bit of bravery. But I like the reaction once he made the first clearance. He was trying to wriggle and get himself up to make the second, and he just threw that leg out and made a brilliant block. So for me, I think I said on air as well, that is their one chance over the two legs. That's what they were playing for, that one golden opportunity. And it came their way, and Kane stopped it. And I must admit, I'm with Curbs. I thought from that point, I didn't see them scoring. So it was a case of just could we score, and we managed to. So it was great.
And just from a managerial point of view, Nathan has admitted as well that it was a big call to take off Thierry. A fan's favourite. If you lose, then that could be a little bit of stones to throw at him. But it worked, didn't it?
Yeah, because he's seen. Let's be fair. He's seen a different picture to the fans and perhaps us sitting upstairs. He knows what's gone on during the week. He knows what a big threat the other side have, and etc. etc. He knows more about it than us, and that's why he gets the credit. I was a bit surprised by the celebrations, I must admit, but let's hope we can do it here at the weekend.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And final one as well, and we'll take it back round to James, who we just heard, the fan as well. I mean, this is a wonderful setting here with Wembley in the pitch, and it's a great place here. Just how special will this be for the fans on the day?
Yeah, I mean, we've had a barren spell. So to see the Valley last Thursday full, and to see the initial bunch of tickets sell out, I'm hoping we're going to get some more. And I think it comes in batches like 1,500. If we get another 1,500, I'm confident we'll sell them as well. And so there's been a brilliant response from the Charlton fans. I think the memories of 2019, with Lee Bowyer, the way we pinched that in the last minute against a very good Sunderland side, the reaction on that day, I think people want to come here and hope we see that again. And I think it'll be a wonderful atmosphere and a great day for the Charlton fans, and they've turned up in great numbers.
They certainly have, and they certainly will indeed. Okay, let's go back down pitch level to the dugout, in fact, where there's 3 Muppets sitting there. That's a bit harsh, Scott, isn't it? 2 Muppets and Sir Alan Curbishley. That's what we got here.
I thought you might have been the Muppet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We are, not you. Because here we are in the dugout. This is the dugout, by the way, that Nathan Curtis and the coaching staff and the bench will be in. Should you not be back up there?
I'm privileged to be at the front. I've never been at the front of a dugout before. Normally at the back.
The good news is that Bo was here in 2019 in this side, but you guys were the other side, were you?
It was the other side, yeah. And it was quite interesting because Peter Reid, I run with him at under 21 level, and I knew him really, really well. And Brian Pop Robson used to play for West Ham, was one of his coaches. So as it was all going on, as the game was going on, we were all looking over at each other and going, and every now and then Reid would go, what's going on? I mean, it's like bonkers, this game's going crazy. But then, obviously, when it comes to the penalties, that was the interesting thing that perhaps people don't realise when it comes to the penalties. You actually give the ref the first 5 names, but then you've got nothing to do with it after that. You'll give the ref the 5 names, because ours went past that, the players had to decide who was going to take it, because we weren't allowed in the centre circle. So,
would you have gone with that order?
I went with the first
after the 5.
No, I would. everyone knows what happened to Sean Newton, don't they?
Go on, tell the story for those who don't.
Well, the ref, I think it's Kenny Forstner, wasn't it, the ref? He suddenly turned round and said, come on, who's next? And I think there was Richard Rufus, Eddie Yaz and one or two others. And they're all looking around like that, and Roof pushed Newts out. And if you see Newts now, he jogs all the way to the penalty spot because he's shaking. You know, never seen him take a penalty, no.
We were all shaking,
But he pushed him out.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, he went up there and took his penalty. Great, wasn't it?
But Brownie, you were sitting sort of over there, but you ready to come on, and of course you did. Best tackle in football history, of course. What was it like though watching the game, mate? Whenever I was sitting on the bench, I was actually more nervous watching than playing in it.
Yeah, it's a hard watch actually, especially when we've been in such good form and we took the lead. As Kerb says, you come out second half and you're 1-0 up and you're thinking we've got this, and within, I don't know what the time frame was, but you're 2-1 down. And she's suddenly sitting there going, and the atmosphere changes in, and there's, you know, the Sunderland fans are now raucous and we're quiet. And then the game went backwards and forwards, as you know, and Rufus equalised with his first goal for Charlton late in the game. And then you're asked to step on, and that is, you know, your stomach tightens up, your brain's going right, make sure you no mistakes, all that sort of stuff. Job, I've got to do it right back. So that's difficult. But the story about the penalties is, obviously you're making your changes, aren't you? You're making substitutions, and so probably Brighty would have probably taken one, and he's off. And Les Reed come to me and he said, I need one more. I've got 4, but I need one more. So, and he said, you've taken penalties, and I went, well, I've missed at Wolves, I've missed Oxford, I've missed Bournemouth, so
yeah, I've taken them, just haven't scored. That's the problem.
On you, Les, if you and he went, right, you're number 5, and I went, no, absolutely not. I'm not taking number 5, no chance at all. And that was when Mark Bowen kicked in. Mark had been in some incredible games across his career, very experienced player. And he went, Brownie, I'll flip, I'm 2, you go 2 and I'll go 5. And so I was much more comfortable because my brain was telling me if I miss at 2, you know, it's not all on you at that moment, you know. So I was happy to change with Bowen, thankful that he did so. But yeah, it's a horrible experience, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I took one in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup, exactly the same type of feel. No, not really. but from sitting here at Kerbs, I mean, the stadium itself looks absolutely amazing, doesn't it? You know, tell us about the sort of magnitude of when you first sit down and you look. But also, you used to like sitting first half up above, didn't you?
Yeah. I couldn't do that, so obviously I'm stuck down here. But the one thing that struck me, apart from the atmosphere, was the stadium was red and white. I mean, obviously it's red and white, but Charlton fans and Sunderland fans, 70-odd thousand, all in red and white. You know, no distinguishing at what end. And the atmosphere. I think the atmosphere was just like, we're sitting here, we can't do much about anything, but the players on the pitch, it must have been fantastic.
What would you say in terms of the percentage of the work you feel you've already done versus what you can actually still sort of tweak when the game goes on?
It's only the substitutions really, isn't it? I mean, I had a couple of difficult decisions before the game, like every manager has. You know, John Robinson had been out injured, Neil Heaney had come in on loan, Paul Mortimer had been out injured, hadn't he? And you know, and they both wanted to play, both wanted to be involved. I think obviously Robbo was on the bench, Morts didn't make the bench. You know, so I had 2 big decisions to make, you know, which I did early, so they got over it, except Robbo.
Robbo's not to this day, he's still not over it.
He never got over it.
He never got. We're walking around after we'd won, and Stevie Jones, I remember Stevie Jones going, money, you know, like Harry Enfield or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I bumped into Robbo, and I said to Robbo, worked out well, Robbo, in the end, you know, like, you've come on, you took the corner, didn't he? No, I ain't. I thought, I'm going to stay away from you all night.
Final one then. Nathan is very lively on the bench, isn't he? How difficult is it to control your emotions, especially in what's going to be, you know, the culmination of the whole season, but boiled down to one game?
I must admit, I think I had Keith that side, and Keith was like,
the calm one.
He calms me down a bit, and you know, but Les was calm as well, you know. So no, we was going with it, but it was just such an incredible day. I don't think it's ever going to be repeated. Let's be fair about that. I don't see another final like that, and thankfully we won. The only other memory I have of it really was Reedy, because before the game, when the players went out to warm up, we were standing in the tunnel. Remember the tunnel? We were standing in the tunnel watching it, and we was just chatting and having a joke and a laugh about this and that. And the players had finished the warm up and come running past us, looking at us like talking. And I went, we better go and give a team talk, Reedy. And we went back in.
Talking back under 21 days, that's what you probably were doing. Okay, so this is the the bench where Nathan, Curtis and the guys will be sat. It is the bench where Lee Bowyer, we got through that a fantastic final back in 2019, where Patrick Bauer scored the last minute winner. What a moment that was. And he was at the Valley last week. Let's hear what he had to say.
Pat, welcome home, back to the Valley. How does it feel to be back here?
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a while, but it's really good to be back, to meet all the supporters, and looking forward to the game tonight. It's a special occasion to be back here.
Oh, well, it's a special occasion, playoff semi-final. What are your memories of that last one, 6 years ago, 2019 against Doncaster Rovers? One hell of a night under the lights here at the Valley. What are your memories of that night?
Yeah, first of all, I won't forget it, because at the same time it's the birth of my daughter. But yeah, penalty shootout and a win over Doncaster, and yeah, we secured a spot in the playoffs. A brilliant night, but I won't forget.
We talk about how much difference the supporters can make on a night like tonight. Again, sold out there, just as it was pretty much back then in 2019. What difference do those Charlton fans make? You've been meeting a lot of them out there today. It's been really chaotic, massive crowds, which is brilliant to see back here at the Valley. But what difference do they make, that Charlton faithful?
Massively. Everyone knows how good the Charlton fans are. It's a sellout tonight, and I'm sure the atmosphere will be brilliant, and hopefully the Charlton boys can get a good result.
Let's talk about that final 6 years ago. Obviously, you wrote yourself into Charlton legend. Already were a Charlton legend, already really popular with supporters, but to score the winning goal with 6 seconds left in that manner, again, we know how proud you were of that moment, but just remind us, just where does that stand in your career as standout moments?
Oh, it's definitely the best moment in my football career. Yeah, to score a winning goal like that. Honestly, even if you dream about it, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it was a proud moment, and yeah, I'm happy that it happened, and hopefully the boys can this season repeat it.
And again, those supporters at Wembley last time really dragged everyone through, didn't they? I mean, it really shows the power of this football club's community and what we're all about, doesn't it? Because I think really it gets forgotten about sometimes just how much potential this football club has got, and 2019 showed that, and we're seeing it again now, aren't we?
Yeah, to be honest, Charlton, they shouldn't be in League One. The Charlton Football Club is huge, with such a good fan base, and yeah, hopefully the future is really bright for Charlton, and they can be successful tonight.
And what was it about your relationship with the fans? Because even before you scored that goal, you were really popular. The BFG, as we all called you, and the fans called you. What is it about that relationship with them? What do you think it was about you and the Charlton fans, even before that goal at Wembley?
I'm not really sure, but it always seemed like they kind of like me. But I'm not sure what it was really, to be honest. But obviously it made me really proud to feel the support of them.
And any advice for the class of 2025 going into the playoffs now? Like, what would you say to them, having lived it, got through it and won it? What would your best piece of advice for the current Charlton players be?
Obviously it's a big occasion, it's not a normal game, it's like a special occasion. Stay calm, yeah, believe in yourself, and yeah, everything else will take care of itself.
I've made my way up to the press box, and I'm delighted to be joined by one of the voices of Charltontv, commentator Terry Smith. And Tel, this isn't a bad view, is it?
It's a fantastic view, but still surreal. I was here, 6 years ago now, for the first time in this position, and it was very surreal then. And I thought it might have changed. I thought I might be a bit more blasé about it. No, it's still very surreal to be in this surrounding. It's a privilege, of course, to be in these surroundings and knowing what's coming. So yeah, no, it's good.
As club commentator, you're responsible for finding the words in the best of moments and sometimes in the harder moments as well. And this season really has been such a journey. To end it here at Wembley is incredibly special. Give me your perspective really on the season and what it's been like to have to try and find those words.
Well, I think it makes it more special because of where we were. We weren't in the greatest position. That doesn't mean we're in a terrible position, but I think Nathan Jones readily admits up to a certain point of the season we were in a place where he didn't want us to be. So to go from there to this is quite incredible, and you have to thank all the people behind the scenes, not just the players, but everybody who got us to here. Yeah, sometimes it's tough, but especially as a fan, because you've got to try and explain your emotions without going too far sometimes, and sometimes that's difficult.
It is difficult. It's a real skill, and one that you and Greg do superbly alongside
Pleasure.
Stevie Brown. Take me back then to the last time you were here. Whereabouts in the press box were you and the guys situated?
As you're looking at us, just away to the right-hand side in that back right-hand corner. They're trying to get me as far away, obviously, as possible, which is understandable. And yeah, we were there, and that was strange in the first place. I mean, you go up and down the country in various grounds, which are some are basic, to say the least, and good but basic. And then you come to Wembley Stadium where everything seems to be provided for you. I remember the first thing that I noticed was the big pick and mix. So I walked in, I took a photo of it, sent it to
Did Brownie leave you any left?
No, well, Brownie was working for BBC at the time, so yeah, he didn't speak to me much. I just sent a photo to the family saying we were over in with the fans, of course. I said, look, you never guess what I've got, free pick and mix, and they made me bag up 4 bags of pick and mix and walk around to them. So that was my first experience of being inside Wembley Stadium. It's yeah, it was good. It's yeah, sitting in that place, you know, and commentating. It was a privilege, as I've said before, but the nerves really kicked in then. I mean, they're kicking in now. It'll be off the scale by the time we set up on Sunday morning.
Pick a mix, a real highlight. Patrick Bauer's late winner, another one. I mean, what was it like to call that moment?
Subsequently, because you don't think of it at the time. I mean, you know, most of it is spontaneous. Most of what comes out your mouth, you try and regulate if you can. But on moments like that, when you know euphoria takes over, so I'd like to say it was scripted. Of course, it wasn't, because you just scream, and you hope in hindsight that what comes out isn't either insulting or rude. So yeah, in hindsight, you know. You think, could I have done it better? Sometimes you do. You just look back. You're always self-critical. But I'm very happy with the part I played in the fans' aftermath, because they look back on that, and some kind people have said that it recreates the moment, which is nice.
It does. And what's lovely, even in this preview show itself, woven through, speaking to our guests, including supporters, seeing all the footage, the euphoria, and that comes across in those iconic words. We've done it, Tell. How many times have you heard that back?
Greg still reckons that I set him off crying because I was crying. I'm not having it. I still reckon he started that. But no, maybe not. But yeah, as I said, I mean, the We've Done It, Tell is probably more iconic, I think, than screaming Patrick Bauer's name. Do you know, you look back at it, and actually, from I wouldn't say professional point of view, because we're not, but from a picky point of view, we talk over each other. Which is something we have really tried consciously. Out of everything we were doing up to that point, is to try consciously not to talk over each other. But all bets were off. All rules were gone by the time that happened, and it was just it was crazy, just crazy.
It's so special when the magic of a sporting moment does coincide with the magic of broadcasting, and it really was a moment like that. You'll get the opportunity again, of course, on Sunday to do that with Greg. How excited are you? Yeah,
very excited. I mean, I'm hoping we don't leave it to the 96th minute again, but you look at the history of the 2 games against Orient this season, and we haven't scored before 90 minutes in those 2 games, so it doesn't bode well in that respect. It means we might have another one coming. But yeah, from a personal point of view and from a fan point of view, I'd like us to be sort of 4-0 up and clear long before 96 minutes turn up, but it's Charlton, so who knows?
Who knows? Well, look, I hope they've stocked up on the pick and mix, Tell, and I hope that you really get to enjoy the afternoon and see what moments of commentary magic we can recreate. That's Tell's point of view of what was a magic moment. Let's hear what Greg Stubley has to say.
Hello everyone, no doubt you've got Terry Smith there to bring you what he will consider the truth behind We've Done It, Tell. But in fact, I'm here to clarify a few things and bring you the real truth behind We've Done It, Tell. So you might remember, just for context going into that game, we're off the back of 3 or 4 years of protests towards the ownership. The club wasn't in a good place. It certainly didn't feel like it from a fan's perspective. So going into that game at Wembley, shortly after the roller coaster of emotions against Doncaster in the semi-final, it was just a really emotional day throughout. It felt like we had our Charlton back, if you want to use that cliched song, but it did. 40,000 plus singing Charlton songs at Wembley, friends and family in the crowd, a lot of emotions before a ball was kicked at the home of football, and then obviously the way the start happened for us, which was very Charlton behaviour, with the own goal, but that side had a resilience about it and a belief that we can come back from situations where we weren't doing so well, and then getting the equaliser was a fantastic moment for us. But ask any fan in the world, they'll say the dream is scoring a winner at Wembley and celebrating that as a fan. And while we're doing commentary, we do try and be professional, but as many of you will know, it can be quite hard for me and Tel. And we certainly, shall we say, just lost ourselves in the moment when Patrick Bauer used his long German leg to prod home from close range. We're at the back of a press row where it was just me and Tel from a Charlton perspective. There were quite a lot of national media who had no affiliation to either team. So all I could hear in my headphones was Tel kind of screaming at the top of his voice. I was kind of shouting, and there was this little kind of walkway bit at the back of the press row. I've just been jumping up and down that row, put my arm round Tel almost in a headlock, and I could see tears coming down his face. Tears were coming down my face, and I just whispered in his ear, "We've done it, Tel," except forgetting that I was live. So that came out on air, and I forgot I said it, to be honest, but it was just in a moment thing. And what's quite nice is a lot of fans have said the reason they like that line is because they almost said that to their brother, girlfriend, sister, you name it, their other half, or the family they were with, to celebrate that moment as well. They said, "We've done it, oh my God, we've done it." And that's how it felt as a fan. So I'm glad it still gets, even though it's a little bit embarrassing hearing it back every now and then, I'm glad that people still can resonate with it. And, as I said, it was an emotional day. And that was 2019, and who knows what 2025 will bring, but hopefully maybe not as much roller coaster of emotions this year, but certainly hopefully we've got more to sing and celebrate with. And hey ho, Brownie, maybe you're the one crying this year. Who knows?
Oh, brilliant. Even now you kind of get the hairs on the back of your neck listening to that. Brownie, can we expect tears or what?
Not from me, but from them two, you will. 100%. Yeah. Look, I've said this before. Having two out-and-out Charlton fans either side here is great to watch. I can't quite get there, but they will Sunday if we go up for sure.
I'm
Definitely.
sure there'll be some tears.
No, well,
for sure. Look, I'm delighted to say we have someone very important the Charlton chairman, Gav Carter. Gav, how are you? All
Thanks,
good?
Scott. I'm good.
Good. Before I actually ask you the questions, I just want to say, Brownie, you've become really good friends, actually, you two now, haven't you? Brownie, tell us how that happened.
The broken man incident.
You go where you want with it.
Well, listen, I was on the train up to Huddersfield and we didn't get the result. We were beaten 2-1 and the first half wasn't particularly great. We went down to 10 men. And on the train on the way home, I don't really change that much. Whatever it is, win or lose, it's like, okay, yeah, miserable, whatever. Yeah. And I looked across and I thought, no, I'm in a good place. His head was down, his phone was there, it kept beeping, so obviously people were trying to get hold of him. He was looking at it, just putting it down. Couldn't get a word out of him, and he was a broken, beaten man that day. But now look at him.
That was a rough day.
It was a rough day.
I mean, the result, we did well. We could have snatched a point, I think, but then the trains back weren't working, were they? So we got on. Yeah, that was a nightmare. But we've got to thank the museum guys. Actually, they got us out of there to Manchester.
Yeah, they did.
Last train out, we got.
Yeah.
But long day.
When you hit rock bottom, the only way is up, Gav.
Exactly, yeah.
But then again, you're good friends with Brownie now, so
he's cheery all the time. Just looks across and goes, I'm all right.
I've got to be honest, the last time I saw you, and I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, the three of us were in Wayne Mumford's house, drinking, celebrating after Thursday night till 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. You recovered?
It was a good night, wasn't it?
It was a really good night.
It was a good night, yeah. I had an early morning flight back to America, but made it. A couple of hours sleep, but made it back. No, it was a great night. It was an emotional night, and it was good to have a few beers afterwards.
Yeah. Have you recovered from the game?
Yeah, I watched the game back, actually. I thought, it's tight. It sort of went very quickly when I was watching it, and it felt different than other games for me. There was a lot of relief when Godden scored, and then, but pretty confident that we were going to hold on. And seeing everybody on the pitch afterwards, I think we're getting fined for that, but it was probably worth it.
Yeah.
Look,
you are the club chairman, but you are a fan first and foremost. Tell us the range of emotions that you went through from the beginning of Thursday till when Brownie actually said, "Go on, Gav, go home, 3 o'clock in the morning"?
Yeah, so Thursday, long day. We actually had a board meeting in the morning. So I arranged a board meeting in the morning because I thought we'd all need something to distract ourselves. So we were at the Valley at 9 o'clock for a board meeting. We were done by about 2, and then several hours back at the hotel just chilling out. That didn't work. So I had a beer. Got to the Valley early. I mean, anybody that was there could see the atmosphere. You know, it got building right from the get-go. The fan zone was packed. So it was good. So the pre-match actually went quite quick because there were just so many people enjoying themselves. And then, as I said, the game was a blur. I had to watch it back to sort of comprehend what had happened. But you know, afterwards it was good. A lot of shaking hands. There were a lot of pleased people, obviously, in the boardroom. That said, you know, nothing won, and I think so. Everybody very grounded as well. Pleased that the operation at the Valley went off. You know, everything that we did for that, I think there was a lot of relief. But at the end of the day, nothing won. We earned the right to play another game. It's a big game, but you know, and we hope it goes well. But yeah, as I said, nothing won yet.
No, and nothing won yet. But we are here at Wembley previewing what is an absolutely massive possible promotion. I mentioned again, you are a Charlton fan. How proud will you be watching the lads walk out?
Oh, obviously immensely proud. It's funny, yeah, because I'm a fan first. I'm an investor. You know, stepped into the chair role. I obviously, you know, I've got to know the staff, the coaching staff, the players a little bit, and you feel it on all levels. So you feel it as a fan, you feel it as an investor, and then you see the work that everybody puts into it, and that's probably the bit which gets me most now, is seeing the work that people put into it and just wanting them to get the results that they deserve for the work they put in. Because everybody at the Valley, everybody at Sparrows Lane, you know, has worked incredibly hard this season. Hasn't always been easy, you know, as we know. You know, the last couple of months, you know, fans coming back to the Valley has been great, but you know, the ticket team have been amazing. Operations at the Valley have been amazing. The sports performance team at Sparrows Lane, keeping players fit, have been amazing. You know, the academy's done great, the women have done great. So, you know, everybody's been working really hard, and I, you know, I want it for them more than anybody else, to be honest with you. And the fans help with that as well, so the fans come along with that as well.
I was going to ask you, have you enjoyed the role? I don't know if enjoy is quite the right word. What word would you use?
I think it's too early to sort of opine on that, really. I think look, I'm incredibly privileged to be able to oversee what I oversee. You know, it is a great team, as I said. So I'm privileged. I have enjoyed it. There's no doubt I've enjoyed it. There's a lot of difficult decisions that you've got to make, though. I've learned, you know, Brownie's told me, Curbs has told me, you know, don't make the popular decisions. You know, you've got to make the right decisions, and that can be difficult as a fan. You know, sometimes the decisions are obvious as a fan, but then when you've got more information, you know, they're harder. So I'm learning to get that right. Yeah, I've enjoyed it so far. Let's see what Sunday brings.
It's still in this first chapter, or infancy for sure. Been a lot of changes in the last 18 months, hasn't there? Just what would it mean for the club, and how have you seen the changes from behind the scenes as well? Because it feels like the club's in a really good place for the first time in a very long time.
Yeah, I think we've gone from like there are no decisions made meant to fail. You know, let's make that clear. But when you make a decision, it's not going the way you think. It does take a little bit of bravery to come up with a plan B, because you're admitting failure. And there was a point there under Michael, we had to admit that, you know, as a club, that wasn't going in the direction we did. The next appointment was very, very important. So you get that appointment in, and then you've got to start thinking about the squad. If the squad's underachieved, and I don't think we won in 18 games in that particular campaign, so you've got to look at the squad. And I think that the turning point was, for me, that you didn't have an ownership that was like stuck in what it did. It was quite happy to go, okay, that hasn't worked. Let's not panic here, but let's try and make the next decision the right decision, which has turned out, I said, it's been validated, because we are where we are today. And then I think bit by bit you try and grow the foundation of we've fallen quite a long way as a football club. I think that's fair to say. And then bit by bit you start to see block after block building back up. and that's what I'd say has happened over the last 18 months. Block by block, we're starting to build, but no one's like waxing lyrical about where we are here. But you are seeing improvements, and if we don't go up Sunday, more improvements over the summer. You know, behind the scenes and on the pitch. If we do go up, probably going to have to accelerate those blocks a little bit quicker. But yeah, the foundations, I think, for me personally, you know, having spoke to Gav privately, and then you listen to people at the club, you know, when they fly in from their destinations, they have got, you know, the right attitude towards where we're going, in terms of nothing's going to be done on a whim. It's going to be done calculated, it's going to be done bit by bit, and there's a plan A and a plan B, and I think that's what's changed over from our last ownership to this ownership.
Whatever happens on Sunday, how are the plans going for next season, and how different are they?
They are different. You know, some things are the same, structures are the same, frameworks are the same, and I think that we've put a lot of structures and frameworks in, processes in over the last 2 years. Well, it's not even 2 years, is it? But close to 2 years.
Is Brownie still at the club next season?
Yeah.
That's
decision to come.
Yeah.
It's a big call. Yeah.
Board meeting.
My decision. I don't like you've not even factored me in there.
I'll appraise his performance on the plane on Tuesday, like I do every week.
I get a text every commentary in the middle of the game.
What's it like?
Oh no, he says Captain Obvious most of the time. Oh, why has he done that there? Oh, all right. Yeah, good point, Gav. Thank you. Can't, you know, try to read it. Tells waffling on. Trying to read Gav.
No, I mean, there is, you know, there are obviously two outcomes, and you have to prepare for both of them. And what is actually going to happen is it's going to be an incredibly short, you know, off season. You know, the players will be back in training very, very quickly, actually, because the extended season that we've had here. So you've got to plan accordingly. Nathan wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest with you. And I'm pretty sure whatever happens, he'll be at the training ground next week, and you know, planning. You know, and he'll be more determined than ever. You know, depending on the outcome, you know, he'll be equally determined to get to the next level, because he's just so driven like that, and that drips throughout the whole organisation. So yeah, plans in place. You know, whatever happens, you know, we'll be okay. You know, I think Brownie just mentioned it. You know, we feel like we're a little bit ahead of plan. I've said that before.
And yet, you know, the club and the fans feel they're well behind.
No, I get it as a fan.
You're playing catch up.
I get it as a fan, and I hate to think that they are concerned it's a lack of ambition, because it's not. The ambition is the same. It's just about being realistic, and sustainability is so important for me here. Is like, I do not want to do anything to jeopardise the future of the football club, and we've seen that in the last decade. And you know, we're not. You know, we won't do that. We will do it sustainably, and that's why we do have a long-term plan. But it's not a lack of ambition or aspiration. But we'll manage that plan carefully.
And news this week as well. There's been a strengthened recruitment structure as well.
Yeah.
Why has that come in, and how will that be implemented?
Well, again, I think as we've developed our plan, you know, when we came in, there was a need to do quite a lot of surgery on the squad. And you needed a team that were capable of doing that, and that's been done, and we feel really good about that. We've obviously brought Phil Chappell back to the club. Phil and Nathan worked together at Luton. Obviously, Phil knows Charlton very, very well.
He was centre back, isn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, it's one of the things that I recognise is that, you know, people that know Charlton kind of get Charlton, and you know, I don't think it's any coincidence that some of our most successful recruits have been Charlton people. So that was part of it. But no, the recruitment team's been built out. Kelvin Charlton's come on board as well, a very apt name, but he comes down from Scotland with a lot of experience. So it's a blend of data analytics, eyes on players, you know, understanding not just the talent but the cultural fit. Players that will work at Charlton, and you know, and building that out, and you know, no, we feel good about where we're at there.
So, final question then: what would your message be to the fans right now?
So this is going out Friday, yeah. So you'll be nervous, but just try and enjoy the day. It's an early kickoff. but enjoy the day, get here early. We've got Box Park here, so we've got some good fan zones here. Let's replicate what we've had at the Valley this year. I don't need to tell them to get behind the team, because obviously they will, and it will be, it's going to be a great atmosphere here, and it does help the players. I mean, it really does. I mean, you know that as players. Curbs tells me that all the time. Get the atmosphere as good as you can, because it helps the players. So enjoy the day and hopefully get the outcome that we all want.
I said you don't know within the 10 minutes.
Final question: whose house are we going to when we celebrate?
Right, can I say apologies to Vilma, who absolutely battered me and Wayne in the morning.
Did she?
Apparently we kept her up and she only got 2 hours sleep. Yeah. So yeah, Wayne was in the doghouse a little bit.
Out of order. I left at 4.
Yeah,
a nice early time.
I just passed the late one to Gav.
Gav, listen, really good to speak to you. Thanks very much for joining us. We really appreciate it as well, and well done with the work that you're doing. It does feel, from an outside looking in point of view, from Charlton's fans' point of view, that the club's going in the right direction. Whatever happens on Sunday, but it would be a massive jump, wouldn't it, to win that game?
We're only getting started. We're 2 years in. This is going to be a multi-year, period of ownership for sure. It's the beginning of the journey, really.
Okay, thanks again. Good to see you. Okay, let's take a look at the opposition now, shall we? As Charlotte is joined by former Orient player Matt Lockwood.
Delighted to be joined pitchside by Leyton Orient legend Matt Lockwood. 383 appearances for the O's, so some really good insight into what an incredible season it has been for Leyton Orient and the finale here at Wembley. What's the mood like at the club, do you think?
It's fantastic. So I commentate now for BBC London, and so I've covered their playoff semi-final away at Stockport, and I also did the last away game of the season against Huddersfield, and the atmosphere is incredible. And I think on and off the pitch it is, even with the ownership, they've got the new investment coming in only sort of last week that was finalised, and the club are just in a really good place at the moment. And I think the atmosphere and the mentality that Richie Wellens has instilled in the team just shines on the pitch, and they sort of seem to have a never say die attitude. They've got goals in the team, so they know that even if they go behind, they can create something and they'll get back in the game. So it's going to be a real tough test for Charlton. I would imagine, and you can probably correct me if I'm wrong, Charlton probably didn't want to play Orient in the final because they're the team, and Charlton as well, are going into the final with the best form.
It is the two informed teams in League One, not just the sort of micro build-up to the playoffs, but really in the context of 2025 as well. Talk to me a little bit more about the job that Richie Wellens has done, because it's been extraordinary, really, hasn't it? It
has. I mean, the way that it all came about and how he took over and what he's built is... It's extraordinary. I mean, you have to hold your hands up and say, fair play. And, when you speak to him, I suppose a little bit like Nathan, he's very intense, he's very demanding, he knows how he wants his teams to play, he knows how he wants his players to perform and how to train, and everything has got to be done professionally, and you can see that when they go on the pitch. I mean, the team spirit is amazing. You can see the boys get on really, really well with each other, and I think sometimes you don't necessarily need to be the best team technically if you've got that team spirit, and you might just run that extra half a yard for your mate who's made a mistake to dig him out of a hole, and that's what he's built. And Orient is a small club in comparison to Charlton. The fans are fantastic. Obviously, I had 9 great years there, and they still, for some reason, love me. So whenever you go back, you feel so welcome, and the players would feel that love. And I know for a fact they want to come here on Sunday and put in a performance for the fans. And like you say, it's 2 informed teams. It's so hard to pick who's going to win. Obviously, Charlton have won both league games against Orient this year, so they probably come in as favourites. But I can't wait. It's going to be brilliant.
It's a one-off occasion, and it's a game that often calls on the big players. And as an observer of Leyton Orient's season, Charlie Kelman seems to have been that player for Orient who's really stood out. He'll be a threat that Charlton need to be acutely aware of on Sunday.
100%. I mean, you can't. Someone who's got the golden boot, and you're facing him in the playoff final, you're definitely going to need to know where he is on the pitch. And centre forwards are a funny breed. If they're playing with confidence, they're pretty unstoppable. And at the moment, everything he touches just seems to go in. I mean, even the first goal in the playoff semi-final, he's a mile offside, and he still gets given it. And you think, how does that even count? But Charlie's had a fantastic season, but he couldn't score the goals without the guys behind him teeing him up. You've got Ethan Galbraith, who's been fantastic this year and looks to have a really bright future ahead of him. You've got sort of Josh Keeley in goal, that's been great. But even when he gets the ball, he looks for Charlie so quickly. Jamie Donnelly's been fantastic. Some of the goals he scored has been awesome. But every time he gets the ball, again, when he gets it, Charlie's on the move. He knows that he's going to look for him and try and play those through balls. So I think Orient have got threats all over. But yeah, Charlie's obviously the main man with the goal scoring record he's got.
If I was to ask you to, in 3 words, describe Orient's style of play in League One this season, what 3 words would you pick?
Good question. Versatile. Positive. And, well, never say die. I just think, even in the playoffs against Stockport, they played 3 at the back and in the first leg, then they played back 4 in the second leg. When you get a goal behind, or they went 2-1 behind, but then they don't give up. They slightly tweak the formation and just altered the way they play to suit the occasion. I think Rich is very good at that. He sees the game really well. He was an excellent player in his day as well. I remember actually playing, not here, it was when this was being built, and we played. I was at Orient and we played Blackpool in the playoff final, and Richie Wellens was on the winning team that day, which was quite annoying. But yeah, so he was a fantastic player, but he gets it, and he just knows how to do it. It'll be interesting to see if he's on the touchline or if he sits up in the stand, because he likes to sit up in the stand, doesn't he, for most games, so he can get a bit of a different view on it. But yeah, for me, Orient, I think they know that they've got goals in the team. They know that even if they go behind, they can get back into games, and they're just relentless. They just don't stop.
There's some real similarities and mirroring actually between Charlton's season this season and Orient's season, and really special that we get to meet under the arches here in the capital. A London derby is going to be a spectacular occasion for both sets of supporters, isn't it?
Oh, it's amazing, yeah. And hopefully that all the fans will come out in their numbers and fill this place. I mean, I don't know whether they'll be able to, but yeah, the atmosphere is going to be incredible. I'm coming to the game. I've got a long way to come, but I wouldn't miss it. And like you say, a London derby in the League One playoff final, you couldn't write that, could you?
Can I push you for a score prediction?
I mean, I'm going to be biased, aren't I? And I want Orient to win. Yeah, of course. But there will be goals, because there are too many good players on the pitch not to score. But then saying that, there's 2 good defences on the pitch that can kind of stop them. I'm going to go for a Leyton Orient 2-1 victory with Mr. Kelman getting on the score sheet.
Matt, best of luck for Sunday. Hope you enjoy the occasion. Not too much, it must be said. Thank you so much for your time. And from one Orient legend to another, back over to the studio now, where Kevin Nisbey is joining Scotty and the gang.
Yeah, thanks very much, Charlotte. It's really nice to hear from a proper Leyton Orient legend, isn't it? Good to listen to Matt. I can't believe it, by the way. We've been here all morning and he's just decided to turn up. So Brownie, I mean, where do we go with this? We've obviously only got 3 days to rip him. He's been with Leyton Orient all morning, and now Liz has decided that he's allowed to come over to Charlton TV.
Are we paid him? Because he's honestly calling it in from all angles. Like, he's in the lounge with the EFL, Leyton Orient TV, popped in here for what are you giving us? 3 or 4 minutes? Dear
all I'll say is it's double bubble, or certainly in terms of time he's given to Leyton Orient, and the way the Leyton Orient crew just walked past. Yeah. The look he gave them in the eye, we don't get that.
Yeah, lovely little glance. Oh, all the best.
We don't.
There was a bit of love in there, wasn't it?
There's a lot of love.
So this is what we're doing. So we are doing this.
Yeah, we are doing this.
Anyway, Liz, great to hear from you. Thank you very much. No. Listen, how's it been for you, mate? Because honestly, you seriously have got a foot in both camps, haven't you?
Yeah. I've spoken about it all day while you were up here. I was working downstairs.
Well, we're only hearing it for the first time, so make it sound like it's take one.
Look, Charlton's obviously where I started my career, and from the age of 16 to the age of 29, that's a large chunk of my career and the foundation of what I've did following on in my career, and always be thankful and grateful. And I'm here every week with Brownie setting up the ex-players association to make sure that the ex-players come back, and obviously the last club I was at officially was Orient. Obviously we came here and we lost in the final against Rotherham, so still got those memories there as well. So look, one of them's getting promoted, and as you say, we're here and we'll see how it goes.
Definitive, which one are you going for?
As in what?
Which team you want to win?
Which team what?
You want to win Sunday?
What team do I want to win?
Yeah, come on.
I want a really good game.
You did ask me the same question about 4 times, Liz. Yeah. We ain't going anywhere. No, you don't have to answer it, but go on.
No, it's obvious which team I want to win, but listen, I want to come here and enjoy the day, and hopefully they both give a good account of themselves, and it's a good day.
You still didn't actually mention the name of the team, but it's
I think we
obviously.
know.
But
We
anyway,
know.
we'll leave it there. Win-win for you, Liz, I have to say, whereas it's not for us, Brownie. Listen, I want to give you a little quiz, if you don't mind,
Fire away.
about Liz.
Yep.
So who did Liz play more games for? Charlton or Leyton Orient?
Well, we were Premier League, so I'm going to say he barely made the team. So I'm going to go Orient.
Do you know the answer to that, Liz?
Charlton.
176 for Charlton, 122 for Orient.
I'm
You got to remember, Brady weren't here for a
I'm stunned.
He weren't here for a large part of the Premiership era.
Stunned.
We got rid of him quite early.
Yeah, got the dead one out.
Okay, another one. Which club did Liz score more goals for?
Did you end in non-league? Did you get to non-league?
I'm talking
League
about
One.
between Charlton and Leyton
Oh,
Orient.
just the two choices. Oh, it's got to be Orient. I mean, they were like League 2 at the time or something.
No, they weren't in League One. Have a little bit of respect.
I don't know. Well, I didn't mean it like that. It's easy to score lower down and up in the
Is it?
Premier League.
Oh, is it?
He's not up in the level of respect, is he?
No, he's not.
I didn't mean it like that. If it's come across like that, I do apologise. I don't really.
Orient.
Yeah. Do you know the numbers?
So I'm right then.
Do strikers know the numbers?
I want to say about 42 for Orient.
Close, a little bit higher, but in
48.
the 40s. 48.
I reckon we've
Yeah.
got 18 for Charlton.
About 22 for Charlton, something like 21.
In between, 19.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
3 in one game though, apparently. You never normally talk about it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
no, the Liverpool game.
Moving swiftly on. What did you tell Orient TV though? You know,
What did I tell them?
Did you say, yeah, you know who I want to win? And
Listen,
you know.
I've told them how we play and how aggressive we are. We like to score from corners and how good we are. I think they know.
Okay, let's talk about the game. I think we've ripped you enough. No, you probably haven't. Tell us about the job Richie Wellens has done. When you think about it, obviously, you know, for us, we feel like we've been out of the division for a long time. Orient haven't been in the second tier since 81-82, and where they were in December the 1st, but quite similar to us, but they were in the relegation zone, weren't they? And yet got into the playoffs.
Yeah, listen, he's done a marvellous job, and it's not just him; it's the owners there as well. They when I left, there were real problems. They went from League One to Conference, which is really sad to see. And then obviously the new owners have come in and have taken over, and there's a real unity back in the club, and they find themselves in the League One playoffs, where they probably feel like they belong. Unfortunately for them, I feel a little bit stronger than them, and it will be a difficult game for them. But listen, it's just credit for them to get this period. When you think about all the big teams in this division, for them to be one of the two in the final is a real big achievement.
Yeah, I think it's fair to add that obviously they had the Justin Edinburgh who took over,
Yeah, okay.
and they lost him during what was a very good rebuilding era, and they brought in Lingy at the top end as the brains behind it all in the football, just to reassure everybody behind the scenes, and they were getting it very, very right. So they come back through the levels, and I think they're an outfit that will catch anybody out on the day. We've seen that. They finished the season so strong, 6 straight wins to get into the playoffs, taking down Stockport. So we may joke about it, but actually they come into this game in very, very good form. So it's one of those ones where I reckon they're going to play it down and play the underdogs, but actually they are, they're up there, and they've done very, very well this season.
Why wouldn't they as well?
Well, they beat Stockport, and I guarantee you, not many people would have had Orient over Stockport, especially the second leg being at Stockport. So I think the Charlton players and management will be taking it seriously.
We've got Matty Godden, they've got Charlie Kelman, 27 goals. Tell us about him.
Charlie, he's had a really good season. He's an intelligent player, he's confident. He's almost like a senior pro. I watched him against Stockport. The first game he scores a goal and he's sort of relaxed because he understands there's another leg. He doesn't get overexcited, but he's a bit like Matty. For me, I think Matty's got more experience. I think he brings a little bit more. I think I like Matty with a big striker. I like the fact that he could play off a big striker as well as with TC. But I prefer him with a big striker. I think he's intelligent, and I think he finds spaces. And then obviously when he's in the box, they're both ruthless, aren't they?
They've got some really good players on loan as well, haven't they? So they've dipped into the loan market very well.
Yeah, they've got a few young boys that I think a few of them were injured, and they've all come back now and they're all playing and performing. And yeah, I think as Brownie said, it's one of those games you take seriously. Although you're laughing and joking, you take seriously because 6 wins in a row in this division and beating the teams they've beat on the way, I think it's going to be a difficult game.
Do you feel they'll be able to deal with the atmosphere, because there are young lads there?
I think we'd only know on the day. But what I will say is I feel we will deal with it well. I think the majority of the fans will be ours, and I think that will fuel the Charlton players. And I think we got to concentrate on ourselves rather than how they deal with it. I think obviously coming here with a large amount of Charlton supporters, I think we're going to have the backing of the ground, and I think that will encourage our players.
Brown Dog, how much do you think it plays a part, the fact that we've done a double over them, or nothing at all?
I would say in a one-off game like this, not a great deal, particularly with the form that they've come in, and they've gone to probably one of the toughest away games to get through. So I think that you scratch everything that's happened in the season. If you look at what we did to Wickham in the league game, and then those 2 playoff semi-finals, they were nothing like the 2 league games. Absolutely nothing like them at all. So you reset, you refresh. What I would say is that there might be something psychological deep down that you might not even register, that you have done the double, but you've got to get on top of your emotions on Sunday, because you come out that tunnel and there is a roar like you've never heard. And like Kerb said in previous interviews, you've got to make sure that your players are not looking around for their family and not looking up, because you've got a job to do, and you could lose this game in the first 15 minutes if you don't start right. So look, I'm with Kev. There is no way Nathan Jones and his staff are going to leave any stone unturned here to make sure that Charlton are prepared for the game. But nothing, I'm telling you, nothing can prepare you if you've never experienced before what you're going to experience as you walk out. And that's what you've got to keep under wraps, so that you've got to stop your nerves from, your hands from shaking. You've got to get under control quite quickly. And once the ball starts rolling, they will. But it's that first 10 minutes, your concentration levels have got to be bang on straight away as soon as it kicks off. But I think man for man across the team, we're strong. We've got to utilise our quicker, stronger players. If Small can get into the game early, if Campbell can get into the game early, and we can isolate them 1v1, it's going to ask questions of Orient, and they're going to have to do something about that tactically. But yeah, I don't think the 2 league wins will have an impact on Sunday, because it's a different thing when you're out there.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say that it could possibly do is if you come up against someone either you got the better of or is giving you a really hard time, then you're thinking the night before, this is going to be great or this could be tough, but still it's about what you do on the day. And you talk about the first 15 minutes, we do know 5 of the 6 goals scored between the 2 this season have come in the 90th plus.
Right.
So this could be really exciting, couldn't it?
And that could play a part. That could play a part, because as you get to the latter stages, if the game is level, I think we've gone from a position where Chuks hasn't been available, and we know what Chuks offers off the bench. He can change the dynamics of how we play. So you've got that added bonus, I think, from a Charlton perspective. I do think if you put a couple of balls in underneath the keeper's crossbar, he's got to be thinking about those 2 goals at Orient that got us the win. So does he come under a bit of pressure psychologically? If it's 0-0 last 15. Yeah, listen. You can't. As Kev said, you cannot tell sat here, because Sunday, it's a case of, I would always go to experienced players will be able to handle the occasion more. It's the younger ones that have perhaps not experienced it. It's not that they can't deal with it, but you might need to calm them down a little bit every now and again, because you can get caught up in the atmosphere here very, very quickly.
It might be a good thing that Chuks actually got suspended, because you never know. If he played the 3 games, God knows he could have got injured, and I think he'll play a massive part on Sunday. I really do, depending on the score. He comes on and all of a sudden those 2 up front, it's a different dynamic. So we've got him fit for the Sunday, and I know at the time we're saying it's a bad sending off, but he's here now in probably the biggest game of the season for us.
I know we've still got 4 days.
Yeah, touch wood. Sorry.
I was going through the stats, and it's an amazing stat that when we score the first goal, we're unbeaten in all 29 of the games, and actually not just unbeaten, but we won 28 of those.
Yeah.
that just goes to show how important the first goal is, and then how good our defence is.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. When we score, every game that I've watched, we don't look like conceding. Even the last game at home, we score a goal and then we look stronger. All of a sudden we look stronger, and that's when the other teams are supposed to put on pressure. But we actually look stronger as when we score goals, and that's not a surprise to me. That we actually win majority of our games. Listen, there's a real resiliency. We go from a back three sometimes to a back five in it, and then obviously how does a team break down a back five with the pace and power that we have in our team, because our wing backs can still get forward as well, so they become attackers as well. They lose it, we become a five, and I can understand why we don't concede or lose many games after scoring first.
Okay, let's fast forward to the day then, shall we? Yep. What would it mean for Charlton to go up?
Well, it would mean, I think if you've got to take it into context of the change of ownership. So we've had some barren years. We've worked together during those barren years, and I mean barren by as much as, let's not forget where we finished last season, which was in our lowest position in our history. All right, and the club made a decision to bring in Nathan Jones, and at first it was just to try and stop the rot. And I can't believe we're saying this, but it was about avoiding relegation, which was it's incredible to say that, from our perspective. But he's done a great job in that respect. He's then turned it, and we didn't have the best of starts this year, so he was under a little bit of pressure, and the players were under a little bit of pressure at the early stages of this season. And you have to say, from December onwards, we've been outstanding, and so it validates everything that's been sort of done in the club in the last 12 months in terms of the decision-making processes, the people you've brought in, the transfer changes you've made. It validates all that. And what I would say is, and again, this is going to come across really poorly, but of all the sides in the playoffs, we have the stadium, we have the fan base. And the Championship will, I'm not saying we deserve to go up because of that, but you're going to make the Championship, in terms of 27. We might not sell out 27, but you're going to go over 20, all right? And away fans will bring 3,000. You're going to get an unbelievable atmosphere. I imagine this ownership will strengthen. So it's not a case of like when Lee Bowyer went up and we're trying to just hold on to Championship survival. I don't think we'll go again immediately like Ipswich and Sheffield United done recently, but we'll certainly be competitive in that league. So, I'm not sure Stockport, Orient, or Wickham are in that position to be able to do that. So I think we make the Championship stronger if we do go up.
And final word to you, Liz, as it's really nice that you graced your presence with us, and we really are honoured. I mean, obviously you're going to get... We're used now. We've definitely gone over.
My 8 minutes is up.
I've got a Lamborghini waiting for you.
He's just had that delivered.
17 invoices he's putting in. Unbelievable.
But you talked about what, from 16 to 29, did you say?
Yeah.
We know where your heart is.
Yeah.
So what would it mean for you to see Charlton back in the Championship, and you do get the feeling onwards and upwards?
I would say this year in particular has been a really good year as well. We've had many programs and where we've sat down and watched the Charltontv, and we've had to commentate on some real disappointing performance, let's say, and results. And this year in particular, I felt like the club's in a much better place on and off the field. And if the club's going to do it, I think this is the year to do it. And I think everyone involved in the club deserves it. I think there's been ex-players that have come down and support this year, which hasn't happened in a good few years as well. So there's a real togetherness about the club, and I'm hoping this year, because it shows that the club is where it should be and where we hoped it would be.
And we appreciate all the hard work you do with the ex-players as well, and bringing everyone in. Well. Brownie does every bit now and again. Liz, great to see you, and look forward to seeing you on Sunday as well. We are very excited here, and I tell you who is also excited, another Charlton legend. Niall Brennan follows the Addicts up and down the country and plays drums on match days. So we're asking Niall to play out today's show, and here he is talking to Charlotte Richardson.
The beating heart of our wonderful football club is, of course, our supporters who travel up and down the country, tune in from far and wide to support the Addicts. And Niall, you have played a huge part in getting us here to Wembley Stadium, the playoff final. How does it feel? It's all quite quiet and serene at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment it feels a bit surreal, but obviously I'm excited, I'm nervous, really hope we get the job done, but just to picture it with 36,000 Addicts fans in here, it's going to be special.
You pick up the drumsticks home and away. You are part of that carnival atmosphere throughout the highs and the lows. But from your perspective, have you felt the sort of momentum building towards this point of the season?
Yeah, 100%. For me, even though it was a defeat, I feel the changing point where people started to believe was with the loss at Birmingham. Because even though we lost, it was, to me, the players come over after and it showed a really united fan base. So I think it's full credit to the players, but also the fans have stuck with Jones, with the players when times did get tough this season.
And that's the point, isn't it? Every football club goes through highs and lows, even in the playoff section as well. You see teams have to ride out difficult bits. For you, when you're amongst supporters as well, do you sense, right, okay, I need to turn things up a notch? How do you analyse the atmosphere of when you kind of turn things up a notch?
To be fair, it does half go off what's going on the pitch. If it's a boring game, like sometimes it is hard to get going, but I don't know, the fans do lift you as well. Sometimes you just see something and someone gets off their seat and then naturally people start to follow as well.
I mentioned you played a part in getting us here, and of course you really truly did. The video of you at the Valley dropped the evening before our second leg game, and social media's reaction to it, it just felt like this really unifying moment. Did your phone just blow up with messages?
Yeah, to be fair, it did. I think Sean had the same reactions as well. But there was other clubs, not just Charlton fans, that had Chelsea fans, United fans messaging me like, that's powerful. So I feel like, you know, the message really did get across, and the atmosphere on Thursday was probably the best since the last time we was in the playoffs.
Could you even hear the drum?
No, especially not when Godden scored. It just went off.
It was incredible, and those moments, of course, stay with supporters
100%.
long after the full-time whistle was blown. I wanted to find out a little bit more about how you and Sean got involved when you picked up the drum, when you started learning the songs and the rhythms and the rhymes that supporters now connect to every week.
Yeah, so how Sean originally started, I'm not quite sure, but obviously Sean was there before me. And then it was just after the playoff game here last time. I was like that annoying kid on the away day that would hit the table or whatever. And then Sean said to me, I'm going to bring the other drum Tuesday night, you're going to play it. And I was like, no. I was like, Sean, I'm supporting Charlton, I'm not doing that. He brought it along, had a little tap, and here we are now.
Should we talk about Sunday then? Because I know that there's a lot of excitement mixed with nerves, but this is our home end. This is going to be our home on Sunday, and you're going to be sat around here, I believe. Is that
we'll
correct?
Be in the lower.
You're going to be in the lower end, just creating all of that noise and trying to make it feel like this is another game, but on a slightly bigger scale.
Yeah, this will be our game, hopefully. Confident, but obviously nervous. Anything can happen, it's a playoff final. Yeah. But we know what Jones is like. He always gets his sides up for big games.
And we know as well, Nathan's made the point very clear that it is a team effort. That synergy is so, so important. And as I said at the very start, you've played a huge part in creating that. It's going to be Nathan Jones's red and white army here at Wembley on Sunday afternoon. The final note for this show, of course, is saved for one man only. Take it away.